No!
You broke my phone.
Oh my God.
Because I feel the only thing she wants to do right now is destroy me, lie to break my character, paint me bad.
It's over. It's over. I can't deal with animals. You are an animal, Toyin.
What an episode. Guys, this episode was wild. And you see, if there's one thing I've come to understand from watching this Real Housewives of Lagos show, it's the fact that most of these so-called Lagos socialites don't like each other. They don't. You see all this claim of friendships, all these labels of, oh, my friend, my paddy, my yin, my yang, my ride or die, my bullshit. Guys, it is what it is. Bullshit. They don't like each other. Guys, these people will do anything to maintain their status of being a socialite, of knowing people. Guys, the major perks for them is all about the association, the connection, the association to top people, the association to popular people, the status, the bragging right, you know, of knowing people, of hanging out with people, of associating with people. That is what it is. These people, they do not like each other. They do not respect each other. There is a, guys, there is a devious sport of jealousy. Jealousy is a sport. The competition is high. They all want to outdo one another. Guys, it is crazy. It is wild. And these people will go all out to bring each other down. Guys, they don't mind, they don't care. They don't mind bringing each other down just to get to the top. It's crazy, it's insane. And you see this particular episode 9 of the show, guys, it made it so glaring. Friendship is just a word. It's just an English word. It holds no water. It carries no depth. It holds no meaning for some of these people. And it's so, guys, it's so shameful to see. You see, this episode in itself was a lot. It was wild. It was a lot. Mariam got served, I must admit. Mariam got served. It felt like Nemesis, you know, caught up with her. From episode 1 to episode 9. Nemesis literally waited patiently to catch up with her on episode 9. But was I excited about the way it happened? Frankly speaking, I wasn't. I wasn't happy with the way it happened. I felt like that was very, very savage. That was very, very violent. I did not like it. I've never been an advocate of people getting physical. I will not become one today. So guys, it was just really sad the way it happened. But it did. She got served. Personally, I felt like that fight with Toyin was completely unnecessary. It could have been avoided. Yes, it could have been avoided. It was completely unnecessary. And frankly speaking, that fight that happened was one of my biggest fears of this season. It was one thing I was praying for not to happen, but then it happened. And I will explain more. I will go into details. But guys, as I said before, this episode was quite a lot. Yes, not all through and through, but the beginning and the end of this episode was actually a lot. So there's a lot to spill, there's a lot to talk about, and I can't wait to share with all of you on this particular episode of Frankly Speaking with Carolyna. So please go ahead, watch this video to the end. Do not skip out on any part. And apologies in advance if this video is too lengthy. And I appreciate those of you that say that you actually prefer my very lengthy videos. Thank you very much, but it's a lot of work. So I'm going to try as much as possible to see how I can reduce this one, although I doubt if I will be able to do that. But apologies in advance regardless. And also guys, remember, share your opinion in the comment section below. I know that a lot of you have a lot to say as well. A lot of you are quite excited. You've been sending me messages already, so the video is here. go ahead, share your thoughts according to your perspective in the comment section below. All right, and yeah, don't forget to join us for our live conversation tomorrow by 3 p.m. WAT. Tomorrow is Saturday, so 3 p.m. WAT. I look forward to seeing all of you. There's a lot to continue to discuss, and I would love to engage all of you virtually. So please do not miss out. Make sure you make it a date with us. All right, come through en masse. All right, and officially, you are all welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Gloria Elijah. This is Frankly Speaking with Gloria Elijah, and I am the girl with the tea. And yeah, for those of you that are already subscribed, thank you so much for choosing to be a part of this community. And for those of you that are yet to subscribe, please do not hesitate to do exactly what you see on your screen. Please go ahead, subscribe, put on your post notification bell so that you do not miss out on anything from this channel. That is if you're looking for that space where you can get the most detailed, factual, and accurate analysis of reality TV shows, movies, and trending social topics. And if you want to see the other side of me, of Gloria Elijah, I have another channel called Simply Glory Elijah. That's the name, Simply Glory Elijah. On there, I share videos of my life, you know, not really, but videos of my life and travels and more. So go ahead, check it out, and feel free to subscribe if you want to. Now, all of that said, let's proceed with the details of the episode 9 of the Real Housewives of Lagos. The opening scene of this particular episode was quite hilarious for me. It was the comical way Tania switched from greeting Iyabo like a friend to greeting Iyabo like she was worshipping a deity in a shrine. You know, they had a tattoo appointment, so Iyabo got there before her. Now, I don't know for how long Iyabo had been waiting. I mean, it wasn't indicated, but the way it was edited, it felt like Iyabo had just arrived, and like a few minutes later, Tania had arrived. And she first started off by, hey, hi. And then Iyabo was looking at her like this. It was like a look of a reminder that, hey, I'm not your mate. Hey, you and I, we're not on that level yet. You're not Chioma, so hold your horses. Yes, zip your lips. And almost immediately, Tania switched up to, Auntie Iyabo, enjoy, Emma Binu, like speaking in Yoruba, oh, sorry, don't be angry.
Hi, how are you? Nice to see you.
Seriously.
So sorry.
Like she was so overly, dramatically respectful with that greeting, and, you know, apologies about coming later because she was the one that actually invited Iyabo for the tattoo meeting. And I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, Tania was just being respectful to Iyabo, but open your eyes clearly. Yeah. Open your eyes clearly and see what actually happened, guys. Oh my God. I was looking at Tania and I'm like, oh wow. Are you so desperate to be accepted by Iyabo? I mean, guys, it made me wonder what exactly it is that Iyabo is giving to Chioma or doing for Chioma that Tania so desperately wants to have a taste of, a feel of, or wants to experience, guys. Because that opening scene, oh my God, it revealed a lot without a lot being said. I felt like it was really pathetic. Yeah, there's a way you greet people, but that felt like some sort of worship, in my personal opinion. I don't know what you all think, but that is what I thought, you know, when I was watching this particular episode. So what do you think about that? Go ahead and share in the comment section below. Now, just as expected, I mean, there's no way these women will meet without having conversations about what's happening in their circle. And so they started off by discussing Mariam's statement to Chioma. And guys, I felt really bad, you know, listening to the way Iyabo was using the information that she had of Mariam's surrogacy journey, you know, to judge the matter.
She's struggles to have her first child, and now she's struggling again to have the second one.
You know, I felt it was really unfair the way Tania judged that situation to Iyabo. Like, guys, she literally completely omitted the context of that situation. She completely omitted the fact that Chioma was very, very verbally abusive to Mariam. She omitted the fact that Chioma had continuously, repeatedly goaded Mariam. She omitted the fact that she was also making jest of Mariam. She omitted the fact that Chioma acted like a bully in that situation. She omitted the fact that Chioma was highly provocative in that whole conversation. She omitted the fact that it was a likely, gang up between herself and Chioma against Mariam. But instead, she allowed Iyabo the room to forge ahead with a narrative about Mariam. And then listening to Iyabo talk about how, she doesn't understand why Mariam that struggled to have her first child and is struggling again to have another child and might not possibly carry, another child, but instead will go through another route of having somebody else to carry the child. Like, guys, she was really explaining in details just because she wanted to defend Chioma. I found it really pathetic. And for Tania, guys, it was the hypocrisy for me. The hypocrisy over the fact that when Mariam was acting bitchy and a nuisance towards Faith, Tania was having fun. She was enjoying being amongst the group of ladies or women, that were against Faith. But now Mariam has had issues with Chioma and she can't take it. She can't stand it. Instead, she's being very, very picky with her judgments, selective support. Guys, is it that conversation between these two people about that Mariam and Chioma situation? It was just very, very annoying. It was really annoying. For a moment, it felt like I had a brain freeze because the way they were going about the conversation, it reeked of hypocrisy. And then just when I thought they were going to stop there, they, extended the conversation to whatever was going on between Dr. Romel and Faith. Iyabo, of course, was quite interested in that conversation because, it involved her biggest nemesis of the season, which is Faith, of course. Now, if you all recall, when Tania had hosted the women to a ladies' night event at a particular restaurant or club, Iyabo had not been around. So Iyabo was telling her that she was quite offended because she had always wanted a ladies' night or an event like that. So why would Tania have organized that event when she was not in town? And anyways, I'm not going to say anything on that, but that did not sound well in my ears because I'm like, who the fuck are you? Like, why must everything revolve around you, Iyabo? But anyways, she was asking if Dr. Romel had been invited. And that was when Tania opened up to her and explained that, Faith had arrived early. Faith had opened up about everything that had happened between herself and Dr. Romel, that they were actually not friends, that Faith came with a lot of receipts. And Tania sounded very convincing. She sounded like, the conversation she had with Faith was equally very convincing and she believed Faith and she had been wrong about her initial perception about Faith after that conversation she had had with Faith. Whilst Tania was taking her time to explain her conversation with Faith to Iyabo convincingly, Iyabo was already acting restless. She was already making faces. All those have as if she's in one of our Yoruba movies. So she was already acting dramatic, and then she declared that regardless of whatever Dr. Romel said about Faith, regardless of whatever he did to Faith, regardless of what happened between those two people, that she still believes that Dr. Romel is far better than Faith. He's more of a better person, more of a good person than Faith.
Whatever Dr. Romel must have told Faith before he got close to any one of us, that's them. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. As far as I'm concerned, Dr. Romel is a good person. He's got a good spirit, better than Faith.
That she likes him and that is how it is going to remain. Guys, you see, I thought that was it. But then the next things she said, it just completely validated everything I had thought about Iyabo being very, very insecure around Faith and being intimidated by Faith's existence, not just her presence, but also her existence. Because Auntie Iyabo went further to say that no matter what, Faith is not one of them. That, like, she, Tania, is more of one of them than Faith is one of them. And guys, the following analysis, or what should I call it, explanation that Iyabo was giving to Tania, I think that was the point I had a brain freeze. Yeah, that particular scene, which was actually the first scene of this particular episode, it lasted for about 8 minutes 27 seconds if you take out the intro and all whatnot. Yes, it lasted for about 8 minutes 15 seconds. And guys, that 8 minutes 15 seconds was very excruciating for me, because listening to Iyabo and Tania's conversation, it made me feel like I was losing my senses instead of gaining knowledge. Like, guys, I'm frankly speaking, because I was trying to make it make sense. Iyabo's explanation, it did not make sense. Now, let's break down her explanation about how Faith is not one of them, right? But rather, Tania is more one of them, you know, than Faith. Even the way I'm even saying itself, guys, I feel like I'm actually losing my sense. Now, first off, Iyabo had declared that she had met Dr. Romel by herself on her own at Showmax event. But as far as she was concerned, Faith wasn't the one that had introduced Dr. Romel to her, not even to Tania, not even to them, that she met Dr. Romel on her own by herself. And guys, God bless production, because whilst Iyabo was yapping her mouth and saying what she was saying, production was playing back the tape of that particular event, that particular scene. And it was very obvious. I mean, we knew, but I'm glad production had to play back, you know, that scene for clarity. We saw how Faith, you know, was introducing Dr. Romel to the ladies. Now, Iyabo was not there. Chioma was not there as well. Chioma was busy going around. That was Chioma's yard sale event, right? And we know, us that watched that episode, we're seeing how, you know, Faith had done introductions and all whatnot. But guys, let's think like normal, or let's say human beings that can think elevatedly, right? Iyabo claiming that she had met Dr. Romel on her own at Showmax event. Did she ask herself who had invited Dr. Romel? Ladies and gentlemen, if I invite you, or let's switch roles now. If you invite me to an event, you know, to meet your friends. Now, even though you did not introduce me directly by yourself to a particular friend, is that not another way of introduction by situation? Like, guys, make it make sense. Because, oh my God. I was listening to Iyabo's explanation and I was just shaking my head. I'm like, who did this woman this thing? What is Iyabo struggling with? What is Iyabo's biggest insecurity that is making her sound this way, guys? Nah, her analysis of that meeting situation, guys, it was so flawed. It was so flawed. But anyways, it was afterwards that she had made the next statement that Faith was not one of them, that Tania was more one of them than Faith. And then she had given this weird analysis that, oh, for instance now, Chioma is her friend. And so because Chioma is her friend, because Tania is Chioma's friend, Tania is automatically her friend.
In fact, you are one of us more than Faith. And when I talk about that, I talk about me and Chioma. Yeah. Because you're Chioma's friend. So Chioma's friend is my friend. Chioma's enemy is my enemy.
That because Chioma is her friend, Chioma's friends are her friends, and Chioma's enemies are her enemies. And then she had further explained that, God forbid though, she does not pray it happens though, but if Chioma has issues with Tania, she would look for a way to make them settle. And I'm like, nah, Iyabo, you just you just shot yourself in the leg right there. Yes, you just contradicted yourself. You said Chioma's friends are your friends, Chioma's enemies are your enemies. So now why are you saying that if Chioma were to have issues with Tania, you would look for a way for both of them to settle? Like, it doesn't really make sense, because if Chioma has issues with Tania, automatically they're enemies. So you, since you are a inheritor of beef and people's problems, automatically you should also inherit Tania as your enemy. Because guys, the way she was just explaining the whole thing was just so pathetic. It did not make sense at all. I was trying to make it make sense. It was not making sense at all. It just felt like she was trying to say something, you know, that will convince Tania to see reason why Tania should not like Faith, because she does not like Faith. And then she further explained that Faith should understand that to be a part of them or to be friends with them, she should learn to be nice. She should learn to be humble, you know, that kind of thing. That she knows that it's not possible for everybody to like everybody, or, you know, you don't have to like me, but you just have to learn to be nice.
So Faith needs to understand that when you're trying to get to know people, you have to come humble, you have to come nice.
Guys, it was more like Iyabo went on an unsolicited campaign for, you know, dislike Faith, but love Dr. Romeo. Now, Tania listened to all of these things. She was quiet, which is typical of Tania. She doesn't have the balls to speak her mind to your face, to the faces of the women, of course, you know, but during a confessional, bam, she'll open her mouth really wide and talk, but she'll be careful of the things that she'll say. And that was exactly what she did in a confessional. She was like, well, I just feel like Iyabo needs to spend more time with Faith. And then another time she was like, well, and Dr. Romeo can never do any wrong in Iyabo's eyes. And I'm like, but Tania, is there a cat holding your tongue from saying all of these things to Iyabo? So let her understand that you don't just judge a book by its cover. You don't even know this woman. Like, Tania, is there something holding your tongue from saying all of these things to Iyabo? But guess what? Once again, typical of Tania, after Iyabo was done with her campaign speech against Faith, but for Dr. Romeo, Tania declared, before I used to be Team Romeo, and then after listening to Faith, having a conversation with Faith, I became Team Faith. But now, after listening to all what she has said, I am Team Nobody. Nobody is paying me money to support. She was just going on and on. And guys, see, it was just very glaring at that point in time that Tania desperately wanted to be in Iyabo's good books. Now, it was very obvious that she did not completely agree with everything Iyabo had said, but she did not have the balls to say to Iyabo's face. And so she decided to declare that she was team neutral, because she knew that if she maintained that she would rather still stick to Faith's story about what really transpired between herself and Dr. Romeo, she knew that Iyabo would pick offense and she might become a target to Iyabo, just like Faith had become a target to Iyabo right from the get-go. So that was Tania playing safe. That was Tania securing her, should I say, little investment to officially becoming a part of Iyabo's inner circle in that circle. Guys, you see this thing I just explained to you? It mirrors the first statement I made on this video, that most of these Lagos socialites, they don't genuinely like each other. They do not respect each other. The only thing they respect is that association, that connection, that status, the class, the bragging right to be able to declare to every and anyone, you know, worthy of knowing that you are actually associated with the elites of the society. Anyways, moving on to the next scene. It was Chioma's photo shoot, but then she received flowers and a visit from a Nollywood actor. I actually like the Nollywood actor a lot. I've seen a couple of his movies. Okay, not just a couple. I've actually seen some of his movies, and I really think he's a great actor. However, seeing that face on set with Chioma totally reminded me of what Mariam had said in one of her confessionals on last episode during her altercation with Chioma at Tania's event. Now, this was when Chioma had actually called what's her name, Mariam, a prostitute. And Mariam, during her confessional, had gone on to open a can of worms about Chioma. Now, of the many things she said, one of them was that Chioma pays actors to be her boyfriend. Yes. So when I saw that Nollywood actor and the way Chioma was all gushy and mushy when her PA had brought the flowers to her and she had shown the card that came with the flowers to her PA, guys. That was the first thing that came to mind. And guys, I'm going to be frank with you all. I do not in any way believe that that guy is Chioma's lover or the boyfriend that she's been speaking with this entire season. I do not believe that. And even last week, Iyabo had put out a post of a video of herself and Chioma. They had prepared together, they had gone for an event, and Iyabo had referred to Chioma as her sister-in-law. And if you also recall, I think episode 1 or 2, episode 2, when Iyabo had gone to Chioma's house to teach her how to make amala. Guys, I had suspected that it was because Chioma was dating a Yoruba guy. And of course, if you also look at Chioma's keen interest in the Yoruba culture and the way she's literally clinging to Iyabo and hanging on to Iyabo like her life depends on Iyabo, guys. I mean, just looking at everything now, everything just really made sense. Watching that particular scene and even listening to the conversation, it just kind of convinced me that Mariam probably wasn't lying about Chioma paying actors to stand in as her boyfriend or something, because that was what it looked like. Yes, even the conversation between Chioma and the guy, it looked like a struggle. Yes, in fact, she had even referred to the guy as, you know, that the guy looked like a struggle. Now, the guy had come from the angle of, both of them attended law school together. They were in the same set and he had liked her ever since. And then he had brought their yearbook and he was showing Chioma a picture of her. We didn't see the picture though. He was showing Chioma a picture of her, was showing a picture of himself. And Chioma had, hey God, she had said that the guy actually looks like he struggles. I'm like, chai! And Chioma thinks she does not have bad mouth. Really? To look at someone as tush and handsome as this guy and you have to remind him of what he looked like. Guys, it was just so off. The conversation was dry, it was off. You could tell that it was scripted. You could tell that, yeah, the guy was probably paid to act as an admirer, guys. And for me, I felt like that scene was completely inconsequential to this particular episode. Because for real, it does not really make sense, because already we've been given a storyline about Chioma that, oh, finally, she has a boyfriend, right? She has a boyfriend she talks to almost every day. She has a boyfriend that's fully invested, like interested and invested in her businesses, in her charity organization, that she has a boyfriend that she's all mushy about. So talking about secret admirers and people that like her, and this guy coming to come and talk about they went to law school together, and I was just like, wow. Even if the guy was even the real boyfriend, so what a way to introduce the boyfriend to us, the viewers. It did not add up at all. So frankly speaking, I just felt like that scene could have just been omitted. Yeah, it did not add or remove anything from this particular episode. The following scenes were some of the women showcasing, you know, their business. And for Toyin, it was her having a meeting with one of Big Brother Nigeria's ex-housemates, her Maze, who is a contemporary dance artist. And so Toyin is planning an art exhibition, and so she needed her Maze to interpret the ideas that she had in mind, hence the meeting. And then there was also Tania that was having a collaborative meeting with another popular fashion designer, you know, showing the woman some of her designs and then discussing future projects or maybe something they were actually working on at that point in time. So it was quite nice to see. It was quite nice to see. And I totally loved to see Tania in her element as a fashion designer. That side of her I really like, but not the other cowardly side of her. Yes, and the side of her that, you know, acts like she doesn't really have a mind of her own. And then there was also Laura, who is still basking in the euphoria of preparing for her wedding. Yes, so she had gone on a shopping spree with her sister for to try on her wedding dresses. According to her, there's 4 of it. There's like 1 or 2 in Dubai, and then there are others, and I'm like, oh wow, this wedding is gonna be major. If we do not get to see it on the show, I'm really hoping that we get to see it on social media, because I would really love to see the remaining of those wedding dresses. The first one she wore was quite nice. I really liked how exaggerated it was, and so personally, I cannot wait to see the remaining ones. The next scene was the beginning of some of the major dramas of this particular episode. Now, it began with Toyin traveling all the way to her hometown, Ife, where her aunt is one of the queens, yes, of the land, Queen Ronke, I guess. And it was quite a beautiful meeting. I loved how graceful, elegant, classy, and very, very informed, you know, the aunt is. Yes, I mean, guys, I actually learned a lot, you know, just from their brief conversations here and there. Another thing I really loved from that particular meeting was where Toyin had actually done a quick sketch of an idea that she had for one of the should I call her deities of the land. Guys, I thought that was so impressive. I mean, personally, I can't get over Toyin's creativity. Toyin's creativity is top notch. Yes, really, really top notch. You know, I mean, I was wondering, like, did she already have a sketch, and did she just come and add 1 or 2 strokes to it? Guys, however way she did it, that was really beautiful. The fact that she could actually come up with something like that in just a few minutes, and even the queen was quite impressed. But then that was where we also learned that Toyin had plans of hosting the Real Housewives women, you know, in the Queen's Resort. And guys, it was at that point I knew that, okay, there was going to be an abundance of drama. An abundance of drama. Some of the women arrived the next day. There was Mariam, there was Iyabo and Tania. And they had been given a royal welcome. Guys, it was really beautiful to see. For a moment right there, I really enjoyed how free, you know, Iyabo was dancing. I really loved that. You see that playful side of Iyabo? I really love it. I'm a huge fan of that playful side. But I see the other side that's very, very vindictive, unnecessarily petty. I don't really like that side. But anyways, Chioma arrived, I think either the next day or much later. She had arrived with her PA. According to her, she had arrived all the way from London. Like, she literally flew back to Nigeria, spent only 2 days in London, and had flown back to Nigeria simply because of that trip. According to her, she's really obsessed with the Yoruba culture. She loves her culture, but she's really, really interested and invested in the Yoruba culture, which once again, you know, makes me suspect that the person she's dating is probably Yoruba, and she's probably trying to learn a lot more about the Yoruba culture and how to please a Yoruba man from Iyabo. Guys, only God knows. I don't know, whatever. But yeah, there we learned it. And then it was in Chioma's room that she had actually put a call through to Dr. Romel. Apparently, Dr. Romel at the time was in the US, in his office, in his clinic. That was where we also learned that he actually had 2 clinics in the US, I think in Atlanta precisely, and he was planning on opening another one in Nigeria, which he has done, you know, by now. And and you see, yeah, Chioma really cracked me up with her reaction, yes, in this particular scene, specifically when Dr. Romel was showing her around his clinic. And guys, what I could perceive from a confessional was someone who had already drawn her conclusions about someone, that, oh, this one probably doesn't really have money. He probably is just looking for how to climb up the social ladder. He's probably just trying to look for how to, blend with us, to be rich and blah, blah, blah. And then she was quite shocked to learn that, nah, this man actually has 2 clinics abroad and is looking at opening another one, because she actually asked specifically for the location, and he mentioned Banana Island. And for those of you that know Lagos, Nigeria, I'm sure that by now you're fully informed that Banana Island of Lagos is like the richest part of Lagos, Nigeria. Yes. So her excitement was just very funny to me. And also it was giving off this vibe of, oh yay, now I have another friend that is also rich, which is probably one of the criterias to be a friend to me. And guys, I don't know if I'm reading too much meaning to these things, but that was the vibe it was giving. And I just could not help but perceive it. Anyways, she had gone ahead to inform him about her trip to Ife, that is Toyin's hometown, and also the presence of the other women, with the exception of those who had traveled. And then she had mentioned that she did not care if Mariam was there or not, that Mariam had made a statement that was unforgivable. She wasn't over it yet until they settled their differences. She wasn't over it, blah, blah, blah. And Dr. Romeo, now that one that actually loves dirty, toxic gossip, was already asking, oh, what happened? What happened? Oh my God. I was really glad that Chioma did not indulge his cravings for society gossip, because, guys, we know what would have happened. Just as Dr. Romeo easily flipped up on Faith, guys, I was 100% sure that he was going to do the same thing to Mariam, and that's on period. I was sure. But then Chioma said what she said, and just to focus on that statement a bit, or let's say her declarations during the confessionals, guys, I found it quite, I don't know if I should call it distasteful or hypocritical, because I'm thinking, Chioma, you're acting like Mariam just said what she said out of the blues. You're acting like you do not understand the context in which she said what she said. You're acting like you're blameless, like completely blameless. Chioma, you're acting like you did not goad that woman. You're acting like you did not insult that woman. You're acting like you did not curse her out. Guys, even it was much later in another scene that Mariam had actually explained that Chioma had really cursed her out, which means that what we had actually seen that day was not everything that actually happened, which is quite typical of the show. So guys, I just felt like Chioma's declarations during her confessionals was quite hypocritical, just as she has been portraying herself this entire season. But anyways, moving on. The women finally met the king, and of all that was discussed, what was really hilarious to me was the way the king had actually identified Iyabo. So the queen, the Olori, of course, was doing the introductions. She introduced everybody, and the king said his greetings back to them. But when it got to Iyabo's turn, I think she was the last woman kneeling to greet the king immediately identified her as the social media troublemaker. Guys, frankly speaking, I can't tell if the king actually said that as a joke, or if it came from the how do I put it now? When you are tired of seeing someone that's always causing trouble on social media, just like okay, yeah, so probably from the exhaustion of having to see this person live and there. Guys, I don't know what it was, but for me, I felt like, oh my God, meeting such dignitary for the first time, and how they can actually identify you is by some of your negative doings on social media. Like, how does it really make sense? Anyways, they received some words of wisdom from the king, especially about living in peace and living in harmony, and tolerating one another, blah, blah, blah. And whilst the king was just speaking, guys, I was just laughing. I'm like, these women that are always fighting and bickering like kindergarten kids, no way. Everything the king was saying, I was very, very certain that it was entering this ear and it was escaping the other one, because these ones, their own is drama overload. But anyways, moving on to the final scene that literally scattered everything on this episode. The meeting called on by Toyin to address Mariam's matter. Beginning with how this meeting started. Chioma and Tania had arrived in the room first, and then Mariam walked in. Mariam did not say hello to the women. She did not greet them. And Tania was busy yapping her mouth in a confessional. And you said us first. Why didn't you greet us? Yeah. And I'm like, well, Tania, if you were neutral, as you always want to pose yourself to be, what happens to you saying hello to Mariam first? I mean, Tania, you've actually been doing a lot more harm than good. You were a witness, a direct witness to everything that transpired on that day, but you chose to spin the narrative and allow others to spin the narrative against Mariam. So what do you expect? Because she and Chioma, they were in one corner acting like secondary or primary school bullies, you know, snickering, or how do they call it? And making faces and, you know, making side nonsense, side drama. And Mariam saw all of that. And for her, since they want to behave like primary school students, she's going to leave them right there. And guys, frankly speaking, I loved the fact that Mariam did not even give them that courtesy of greeting them, because they don't deserve it. But anyways, moving on to the conversation that ensued. I'm going to say this, I was quite confused, because when Toyin said that she had actually called the meeting because of Mariam, and because she had actually had like a lengthy conversation the previous night with Chioma, I'm going to be very honest, I was quite disappointed. I was quite disappointed because, number one, I felt like Toyin and Mariam, they've come a long way. They are friends first, right? Now, this is me putting aside all the gossip and whatever that has actually transpired, which they addressed later, that resulted in the fight, yes. But I felt like they've actually come a long way. And prior to the Ife trip, on the last episode, Toyin and Mariam, they've actually had a conversation. Mariam had actually told Toyin everything that happened at Tania's event. Toyin had asked Mariam, if she said it from a place of spite, and that's the statement she made to Chioma. And Mariam had actually explained the context, which I also explained to all of you on my own video. Yeah, so I felt like whatever conversation Toyin had with Chioma the previous night, I felt like that meeting should not have been called, having all the women there. No, I felt like Toyin should have still gone ahead to have a private conversation with Mariam, yes, to say, okay, I had a conversation with you. I had a conversation with Chioma. Chioma has told me her own side. This is how she feels. This is how you feel. Can you both see how you can work things out and resolve your differences? I felt like there was no need for Iyabo and Tania to be a part of that conversation. I felt like calling a meeting for Mariam, for whatever reason, I felt like that was a setup that Toyin probably did not see. Because if you all recall, for most of the meetings that's been happening with the women, most of the gatherings, Toyin has been absent most of the time. So in a way, I kind of felt like that meeting was a setup that Toyin did not see happening against Mariam. Yes, because guys, what was Toyin thinking? Iyabo will never take Mariam's side. Tania will never take Mariam's side. Chioma will never take Mariam's side, because both of them, they already have an existing beef. And also in the conversation they were having, there were also issues between Toyin and Mariam that needed to be resolved. And I'm like, but people already had a conversation. People already resolved your issues. So Toyin, why did you allow whatever Chioma told you the previous night to motivate you to unconsciously set up Mariam? Because guys, that was just an obvious setup. But it was also obvious that Toyin probably was not aware that that was what it was. But guys, us the viewers that have been actually seeing what's been happening in previous episodes, guys, we knew that that was what it was. And that was exactly what happened. Because right there and then, Toyin was expressing her hurt and her disappointment in what we would perceive as Mariam's betrayal. That during the time they had had their issues, Mariam had talked about Toyin to Chioma and Iyabo. That Chioma had told her that, oh, Toyin was condescending towards her. Iyabo had taken charge of the conversation and taking responsibility for that statement that, oh, it was she that actually used the word condescending, because when Mariam was reporting Toyin to her and equally trying to encourage her to make peace with Toyin on the issue that she, Iyabo, also had with Toyin, that she was the one that actually volunteered the word condescending because she felt like Mariam was struggling to express herself how she wanted, you know. So Toyin was really upset because she felt betrayed. Like, why would you be discussing me with other people? Now, there was also the case of Mariam partially trying to defend herself and then going ahead to expose the fact that no, that Toyin said XYZ. Toyin said that Mariam should not allow Iyabo and Chioma to come in between both of them. Guys, I suspect that conversation happened when both of them went to the gaming center. Now, Chioma, on the other hand, had equally said a lot of things about Toyin, because remember, Chioma had issues with Toyin before, but then Chioma was doing reverse psychology. She was flipping the script, you know, and was saying a lot of things during her confession. I was like,
I don't care about your business. I'm not close to either of you to care enough. And even if, let's even play devil's advocate. Let's even say I told you, Miriam, that your friend, your so-called childhood friend, is being condescending. So you're going to take my word and my side.
Like, oh, so they've been saying a lot of things about us. Iyabo too was acting like she was blameless. Like, oh, so people have been saying a lot of things about us, been gossiping about us, and now Toyin is coming to come and play the victim.
So they both admitted that they talked. The only thing is that nobody is owning up to what they both said.
So guys, I felt like Toyin, with her own hands, sort of set a trap for Mariam and equally set a trap for herself, because Tania, Chioma and Iyabo were having a field day watching two friends that have known each other for over 17 years go against each other. And guys, it was sad to see. It was really sad to see. Guys, I felt really bad, and I just continuously wished that Toyin had first had another private conversation with Mariam before deciding to do anything public with those women, because she should have known by that time that none of them would take her side. Even if push comes to shove, Iyabo will still stand to take Chioma's side other than her side, which was what happened. In the midst of that conversation, there were quite a number of things I noticed, especially about Tania. Now, Toyin was the first to start speaking, and there was a lot of interruptions from Chioma and Iyabo, and it was quite a struggle for Toyin to really make her point. But eventually she was allowed to speak. It was Iyabo's turn to speak. Iyabo literally took the floor of Toyin to speak, and she spoke, gave a bit of clarity to what was actually said, and then she took the whole blame, as I said before, and threw some sort of challenge to Mariam to explain herself, you know, for accusing Chioma. She should explain herself. Everything she said, everything she did was, of course, obviously to defend Chioma's honor. Now, when it was now time for, what's her name now, Mariam, to speak, because she had to respond to a lot of things. In fact, after listening to different people's confessionals, it turned out that they had actually brought up the issue of her statement towards Chioma. Mariam started explaining herself. And once again, she explained the context, that it was her motherly instincts that actually, whilst they were inside the room painting at Tania's event, that Chioma had actually cursed her out.
My motherly instincts in me was not clapping at the time. Chioma, you were outside in the corridor. We were inside the room, the painted room. You were cursing me the fuck out.
Guys, notice how the room went silent. Nobody was putting emphasis on the fact that Chioma actually cursed out Mariam. But Iyabo kept on emphasizing on, you know you're upset, you said something, you know, in Yoruba culture, you don't say something. And I'm like, Iyabo, you too, you are acting like you're not really learned or even exposed, because this person just explains the context of her statement and you are still emphasizing on that. Now, whilst Mariam was trying to explain herself, Iyabo was speaking, and then Chioma was also attacking. It was like Mariam was trying to say something, Chioma was attacking and asking questions, and Mariam kept on saying, let me finish, let me explain myself, let me land. But Chioma kept on, you know, going on, and Toyin was trying to tell Chioma to calm down. Iyabo too was telling Chioma to try and calm down, but Chioma kept on going on and on. And Mariam got upset that, you know what, I'm going to leave if people don't want me to speak my own truth. You don't want me to speak my own part. And Chioma also flared up, oh, leave. Who cares if you leave? Leave. Who cares if you leave? Now, it was at that moment that Mariam got up and walked away. But Iyabo was calling her back. Toyin was calling her back. If I was Mariam at that point in time, I would apologize to Toyin and say, Toyin, I'm sorry. I know that this is your event, but if I stay one more second, tempers are going to flare up. A lot of things are going to go south. Mariam would have left, but instead, Mariam left and came back. And I felt like that was just, nah. I felt like Mariam completely reduced a level to nothing by simply turning back and coming back. Because I felt like, girl, if you wanted to be the it girl that you were showing yourself to be at that point in time, leaving would have, ended a lot of nonsense. But you came back, and when you came back, you came to come and chop embarrassment. You came to come and chop beating. Because by the time she came back, it became a heated argument between herself and Toyin.
No, Toyin.
Toyin at that point in time had really flared up. She was calling Toyin a liar, said Toyin should shut the fuck up. Toyin too was calling her a liar. They were having a heated go at each other. And it felt like, the spectators were having fun because Chioma chose that time, she and Tania, they chose that moment to be goofy on phone, whether on Snapchat or wherever. They were having fun. It felt like they were excited that all that drama was happening between, Toyin and Mariam. At the point where Mariam had actually walked out, Tania had the audacity to say a lot of crap during her confession. I was like, oh, the fact that Mariam stood up and walked out, it means there's a lot of things happening that Mariam does not want them to understand. And I'm like, Tania, please, just zip it, or better still, cease to exist on this show right now, because you're just really annoying at this point. Because I'm thinking, Mariam is here explaining what had actually happened at your event, which you are fully aware of, but you're also forming selective amnesia or simply burying everything under the carpet just because you enjoy the fact that Mariam is the villain, so she needs to continue being in that role of the villain. So guys, it was just so irritating, listening to Tanya's confessional. But as I was saying, it became a heated argument between Toyin and Mariam, and it was at that point in time that both of them were, facing each other, and Toyin got physical. Yeah, Toyin was the one that threw the first strike. Like, she shoved Mariam. She even pushed Mariam. She pushed Mariam twice. And guys, I was really disappointed. I mean, guys, it was wild. It was so scary because the first thing that came to mind was Toyin's health situation. She's been wearing neck aid, knee aid, spinal cord, everything. So I'm like, Toyin, why would you allow yourself to succumb under this pressure of anger, even getting to the point of even getting violent? Like, aren't you scared for yourself? Aren't you scared for yourself? And guys, I was really disappointed that Toyin allowed herself to get to that level, because guys, come on, Toyin already has a reputation on the show. Last season during the reunion, she was labeled the violent one because in the heat of an argument with Chioma, she had gotten up and had almost slapped Chioma, if not for Iyabo that blocked that slap from reaching Chioma's face. So I felt like, oh my God, Toyin is back this new season, new attitude, properly elevated, classier, more elegant, more elevated in thinking, in maturity. And guys, I was telling you all at the start of this video that my biggest fear happened. That was my biggest fear. I was hoping that between Toyin and Laura, this new change that they have, this freshness that they came with this new season, nothing should taint it. But lo and behold, Toyin allowed herself to get carried away, to once again take on the label of the violent one. And I did not like it. I was really disappointed. I was sad. I did not like it. And also looking at the fact that she has health challenges, I felt like Toyin should have considered her health first before anything. And then after her health, her brand. No!
You broke my phone.
Oh my God. Yes. Don't go there. You see that extent of getting angry and getting physical? Don't go there. Avoid it at all costs. And then there was also Mariam, who I don't even know whether it was in the, in the heat of the moment that her gown got unzipped, or whether she unzipped her gown by herself. But guys, her breast was literally all over the place. Guys, it was a shameful sight to behold. First thing that came to mind was Mariam. Just as your motherly instincts made you realize the need to not engage in Chioma's goading, that same motherly instincts should have rang a bell in your head to maintain your composure and not expose your body like that on a reality TV show. All because of what? And frankly speaking, I felt really bad for Mariam. Yes, I know she's been doing a lot this season. She's been very, very chaotic this season. The whole ratchet behavior, the unnecessary antagonizing of Faith, the unnecessary instigating that she's been doing. I get it, but I just felt like it shouldn't have gotten down to that level. For crying out loud, she's a mother, she's a wife. So fighting to the extent of going half naked on camera, nah, I was ashamed on their behalf. I did not like it. And then listening to Tania saying in a confessional,
and I enjoyed it because I just feel like you've been coming for everybody. You've been, a nuisance here and there. And now somebody has decided to give you a taste of your medicine.
Mariam had it coming. She's been in nuisance all season. I was there. Nobody told me I was there. It was at that point I said, you know what? Please, just carry Tania and throw her away. Because this one is of no relevance at all. Like, seriously, Tania, you're enjoying watching another woman, be reduced to that level of humiliation on camera. You're enjoying it. It's giving you a kick. Imagine if you were in that same position. If you're not red, you would have been red like red tomatoes. You would have been red. Because I'm sure you would not be able to handle it. Yes. And then that's disgusting comment Iyabo made about Mariam's weight. Saying that, why is it that every time there's an argument or something, Mariam's dress will just slip over, her zip will be undone. That Mariam should go and eat so that she will add weight. Like, in other words, calling Mariam skinny. And I'm like, oh wow, Iyabo. What else is left in your arsenal of bad behavior? What else is left in your arsenal of pettiness? What else is left? What else? So guys, that scene was very traumatizing for me. I was ashamed on behalf of Toyin and Mariam. I was really disappointed. I did not like what happened. I would have preferred if they continued to have their verbal altercation. At the end of the day, after insulting each other from A to Z, I know for sure that somehow they'll find their way back to each other and resolve their differences. But then getting physical? Nah. Because Toyin was really heartbroken. For her, she's not going to engage with Mariam anymore. She feels like the relationship is done because she feels like Mariam is on a destructive mode, and she feels like Mariam is out to destroy her name and her brand, blah, blah, blah. Mariam, on the other hand, felt like Toyin had crossed the line. The relationship can no longer be patched up, whatever. Guys, I felt really bad. And I do hope that both of them find common ground where they can actually sit down and have a proper conversation. And then both of them will advise each other that as friends, almost sisters even, when next they have issues, they should iron out their issues between each other and not involve other people. Because when you begin to spill about your personal issues or personal affairs with people to outsiders who, of course, would not want to see the growth of your relationship with that particular person, you end up spilling a lot of things and even forgetting some of the things you said, because that was what happened to Mariam in that situation. So guys, there's still a lot to talk about, but we're going to continue tomorrow 3 p.m. WAT during our live conversation, guys. So please make it a day with us. Do not miss out. But in the meantime, I would love to know your thoughts about this whole drama on this particular episode of the show. So please go ahead and share the comment section below, and I'll see you guys on another episode of Frankly Speaking with Real Ikeji. Have an amazing day. Bye.